Well, either you're closing your eyes to a situation you do not wish to acknowledge, or you are not aware of the caliber of disaster.
Hello.
The Emperor has been expecting you.
You're gonna get your mind right.
Warning. Common sense incoming.
Alive.
It's alive!
I'll alert the media.
We have some bad hombres here, and we're gonna get them out.
Here I come to save the day.
Warning, this contains explicit material suitable for children.
Ridiculous bullshit.
Dignity. Always dignity.
Now to me, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, say no more.
But you know what? I like you, because you are special.
Want to see me make bubbles with my spit? Sure do. In fact, that's the theme of our show.
Great heavens, what kind of radio show is this?
Some religious officials are referring to this as the opening signs of the impending apocalypse.
This is the Blab.
Yes, it is. You see, right off the bat, somebody's got their volume turned up and it's high technology along the way.
Wasn't me.
Right. Welcome to the Blab for your June 19th, 1947, listen to me, 2019. I want to tell you right off the bat, I made a vow that we were not going to go into Scott Trash Donald mode right off the bat tonight. I thought, though, there was something that I wanted to kind of share with you. Maybe mine's turned up, too. Oh, there you go.
Let he who casts the first stone.
Yeah, well, I'm older and I have more insurance. So there's that. So I thought, let's talk about something lighthearted, perhaps a little frivolous. We talked about humor adding into it. At the same time, we mesh in whatever we're doing. Let's say, dare we say, hi, Ethel. Thank you. Ethel's here tonight.
She's here every night.
She's all keyed up. Well, she's here every week. She's not here every night. I can only afford to pay her once a week. But I thought, let's talk about something, dare I say, gay.
Nice.
Yep, she's the queen of the segue, baby. I feel pretty, oh so pretty. And we're broadcasting live, we're streaming live on Facebook Live tonight, and it will appear on YouTube's channel sometime tomorrow or whenever I get around to it. And if you feel like you want to join us and you're on Facebook listening, hi, how you doing?
Send us a message.
You can comment, positive stuff comes to this side of the table, and any critiques or crap goes over there to that side of the table. That's how we do things. All right, the whole thing, Ethel threw that together, that wonderful medley of Hail to the Chief and I Feel Pretty. Let me throw this out at you. Mayor Pete, who I'm growing increasingly more fond of each day, politically as well as personally, was interviewed and we'll talk about some other things, among other things.
Hello, Sailor.
Tonight. But he was asked a very reasonable and a question he's going to hear a lot until people finally shut up and stop asking the question. Do you, Mayor Pete, think that America is ready for a gay president? Like so many of other buzz, his answers. I think I'm having a stroke tonight.
I'll keep going as you fall off your chair.
His answer was poignant and very articulate. I don't have the audio, but basically what he said was that, and he wasn't smarky about it or smirky or snarky or nothing. He was straight up. He just said, don't you think it's probable that in the entire course of the nation's history that we've already had a gay president?
Well, yes, probably closeted.
And boy,
yes.
I went like, Mayor Pete, good job, buddy. I was reminded, and this is the springboard for the conversation, I was reminded of an episode of The West Wing some years ago, and I don't know the topic of the particular episode, but there was a conversation going on with C.J. Craig, who was played wonderfully by Allison Janney, and I think it was Josh and Toby. They were all sitting in her office talking about something. And they were kidding around, and it was a homosexual subject matter or something. And she said, Aaron Sorkin's dialogue, she said, and I'm quoting, I went and looked it up. She said, 1 out of 40 American men wear women's clothing. We've had more than 40 presidents. I'm just saying, one of these guys has been dancing around the Oval Office in a prom dress.
Well,
unquote. Now, this is not to make fun of our gay friends.
We know J. Edgar Hoover did.
But they're talking about cross-dressing for humor's sake and et cetera. But I thought to myself, and I think you and I may have spoken about this privately earlier in the week, I said, you know what? I understand the question, is America ready to actually vote for a gay president? But I'm perfectly willing to believe it makes perfect sense that we've had straight as an arrow heterosexual presidents in the White House since the dawn of time. And so the whole argument, A, is kind of silly.
Right.
And B is kind of silly. And he's sort of taken, by he, I mean Buttigieg, he's already taken the legs out from under it because he's such an articulate young guy, and he's been very successful in one of the places where you'd think the gay prejudice would be rampant.
Yes. That's the most impressive thing to me.
They like what he says and what he does.
Mm-hmm.
And in a sort of a way, he's kind of like...
And they're less worried about who he does.
He's kind of like the he's kind of like the bizarro world Donald Trump. The bets are off. It's like, that doesn't matter. You know, the folks who are still salivating over Donald don't care that he's a pussy-grabbing slimeball because they like what he says and how he says it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never figure that out.
Well,
but nevertheless, there's that. Now, Pete's doing kind of the same thing, only in a good way. I wish I had... I'm going to have to get one of those music tracks that goes... to make it right bizarre. So, do you think America's ready for a gay president? Or can they... Do you think America's grown up enough to actually say, we're going to listen to what this guy has to say, and that's not going to be an impediment to me voting for this guy?
I saw the same interview, and one of the points that the interviewer made was in the Afro-American culture,
mm-hmm.
gay is more taboo than in the Caucasian white culture,
mm-hmm.
and
RuPaul notwithstanding.
Well, yeah, but can you really win the Democratic vote without having a large number of African Americans vote for you? I mean, that's a question I'm asking.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
statistically speaking,
that's the one point that the interviewer made that gives me hesitation to say yes, they're ready. You know what I mean? I'm ready. I could care less, but
actually, not to be the grammar Nazi, but you
couldn't care less. That's right.
Bill Cosby corrected me on that one. Long before he went into the slammer, I interviewed him, and he
were you awake or unconscious when he corrected you?
I felt a little groggy. I have to tell you when it was over.
But yes, that's the only thing that gives me pause.
We're both, yeah.
What is going on tonight?
I don't know. It's in the air.
That's the only thing that gives me pause.
The humidity is 8,000% outside is what's going on. Okay. But I don't deal with it well.
You know, I don't think you can carry the Democratic ticket without getting a large number of the Afro-American votes. And he did point out the stigma of that in the African-American culture.
I agree. I also, though, think that once again, as I'm going to reiterate many times, and we've already iterated several times, this particular election, I think all the bets are off on everything.
Well,
I think this is going
you could be right.
I think this is going to be the most difficult to predict election in American history because there's so many factors in play here that have never been in play here before. I think you're right about traditionally black voters tend to shy away from gay, as a stereotype.
Right.
Let's just say that's the case. Then again, if the choice is a Pete Buttigieg or another 4 years of Donald Trump, it's one of those. Like what the Orlando News. Did you see the Orlando newspaper put out its endorsement?
Yeah.
See what the endorsement was?
The field. The field versus Trump.
I should have had the clip. The literal endorsement was not Donald Trump.
Right.
It's too early for us to pick one out of the other, they didn't officially say anybody but they said not Donald Trump.
In Vegas terms, that's the field. The field versus Donald Trump.
I found that extremely telling and very interesting. And again, one of those things that, well, you can't vote for that guy, he's gay. What are you talking about? You put a confessed adult.
Are you okay
I
with
know,
that?
it's just you put a confessed adulterer, pussy grabbing, blah 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 in the White House and didn't think twice about it. So what's...
Well, we've had several adulterers in the White House. Historically,
there's no question about that.
But God knows how many. If you go back to colonial times, and we discussed the European culture at that time.
But you know what's missing, and again, you and I go through this, and I always immediately say, stop defending the guy, and I see that, I hear that as a defense of him. Well, he's done it because many others have done it.
No, I didn't say he did it because.
I know there's an inference there, and I overreact. I admit that. But what's different about this is that the others were not arrogant about it. They weren't. Yeah.
Good
what?
Point.
Fuck you.
Good point. Yeah.
People still love me. I'm a slimeball, but people still love and adore me. I mean,
right.
There's a lack of, like Doris Kearns Goodwin said, this man possesses no humility whatsoever, and that's, there's that. All right, so we'll see. Mayor Pete's cooking, and so far I like what I'm hearing from this guy.
He's very he's very well spoken. All of his answers. I mean, he's a veteran. He served. I mean, there's really nothing not to like about him, unless you have the stigma of the homosexuality thing.
And he can put in his mouth anything he wants to, as long as he turns things around and makes America truly the gracious nation that it deserves to be.
Well, hello, sailor. I like that.
A lot of my friends out there are saying, I'm not making fun of you. You know me. You know I love you. I love you. All right, let's jump off of Pete, symbolically speaking. And let's talk a little bit about one of your favorite acronyms. Yes? How do you spell relief? ROLEIDS? No, we spell it AOC. Ethel's got you covered.
I tell you what, Ethel's killing it tonight.
Every night. And she's like 97 years old. I'm sorry, dear. She's 93 years old, and I'm telling you, she knows how to.
She doesn't look a day over 97.
All right, tell me about your unrequited love affair with Alexandria Cortez or Ortega, whatever her
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's hot. I like her.
Yeah. Well, there's your criteria right there.
No, here we go. I guess Amazon is her Moby Dick. I don't know. She came out this week and said that Amazon pays starvation wages.
By the way, I don't mean to interrupt you. For those of you that are concerned about the fact that one or the other of us may be having a stroke tonight, what Dave just meant to say was Moby Dick. He has a little bit of a sinus infection.
I am ill
and he's a trooper. When he said Moby Dick just now, he wasn't making fun of.
Well, that's Moby's brother.
Moby Dick. So anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted people to be sure they were.
Well, actually. There we go.
So he's the Moby Dick.
She came out and said that Amazon paid starvation wages today. Mm-hmm. Not today, this week. And all of a sudden she's back into it with Amazon. I don't know if you remember, last year they were going to move into New York, and she basically ran them out of New York. They were going to bring in 25,000 jobs. God knows how much money. They were going to rebuild the block, for people to live in.
How did she run them out of New York? She doesn't have that kind of power.
She put a lot of pressure. She's a representative there. She put a lot of pressure on them.
Okay.
But, I mean, they blamed her because they had billboards up saying, thanks a lot, AOC. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But
I'm
dying over here.
I know. No, you're doing great.
So,
you mean physically.
So, basically, Amazon responded, and I have to read and I have to read this. Uh-huh. Amazon immediately fired back and said they pay all full-time, part-time, temporary, and seasonal workers $15 an hour.
Okay.
They also added that all full-time workers receive medical coverage, 401k, company-paid life insurance, short-term, long-term disability insurance, and maternity leave. And then they said in the Staten Island facility, which is in her district, the employees average $17.30 to $23 per hour. So I don't know where she gets off saying, when the minimum wage is $8 or right around $8 and their average pay is $15 to $23, how are they paying starvation wages?
I don't know.
It seems like she has some kind of a stick up her ass for Amazon, and I don't know if how that'll fare if Jeff Bezos ever decides to put the full weight of his hundreds of billions of dollars against her.
Well, I think, first of all, Jeff Bezos was going to run for president, but now there was only 23 slots available, and they're all full. I don't know. I don't know the specifics of where she's coming from on this, but what I will say is that she's, and in my opinion, she's doing it pretty well, regardless of what those that just can't stand it and are insane about that fact are doing. She sees herself as, and she's functioning as a kind of a female Zorro. She's champion of the people. And so there's that. Okay. I don't know. She may be throwing it around rhetorically or politically, rhetoric-wise, to be able to say these kinds of things and et cetera. She's making the noises. So far, everything I've seen her say, and I don't get into that much of what she talks about, but she seems to be making some headway and popping some balloons that need to be popped.
She makes some sense. And people paint her as stupid. She's not stupid by any stretch of the imagination. She's not stupid. But she's not had a good week because then she had the concentration camp.
Well, you don't get elected to high office in this country if you're stupid. Oh, wait, never mind.
Well, then she had the concentration camp video that she put out, which I'm sure you saw that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where she compared the detention centers on the border to concentration camps, which immediately rallied the Jews to, I mean, they were going nuts on her.
Well, you know what? There's a, and I use the word, when I say this now, I'm not talking about Donald necessarily. When I use the word Trumpism, I'm talking about a way of life, an attitude, a methodology, et cetera, et cetera. Trumpism as a methodology can be effective, and part of Trumpism is to say obnoxious, ridiculous, screaming things, but in the category of you can't really do anything about getting people's attention until you get their attention. So maybe it's one of those kinds of things where, and I don't know, I'm not defending her or what she's done with Bezos, but I'm just saying that maybe it's one of those things where, have I got your attention now? I said starvation wages, and everybody's got their panties in a knot about that, but while you're listening, let me share with you what's really going on.
While you're listening, we got concentration camps on the border.
Well, yeah, and these days, getting through to people, there's so much stuff.
Right.
All right, because we got your interweb, and we got we got these endless podcasts that just seem to go on and on and on. And my friend says that there's things. So I don't know, but and I like what she's doing, and I appreciate the fact. I'll tell you what I like about her. Just to throw this out.
I like the dancing video.
She keeps her cool. She's very young. She's very inexperienced, and that's a plus in my book in the sense that she keeps her cool. She does not allow herself to get provoked into going low, as Michelle Obama would say. We go high. She keeps her cool. She shoots her shots. If she misfires, then okay, but she shows a remarkable maturity in the position that she's in, and she takes and again, like Donald, but for different reasons, she takes a whole lot more shit than anybody else takes or other people take in her position because they're gunning for her.
Well, she's looked at as I guess the beacon for democratic socialism now, if that is a thing. You know what I mean?
On Bernie's days off. Yeah.
It used to be Bernie, but now it's, ever since we've seen those kids videos with Bernie, it's hard to take him serious at all.
And we're going to take a very short break, and we'll ponder that. We'll be right back. I tell you, Ethel's worth every penny that I don't pay her. All right, we're on Facebook Live. Nice to see we got a little group here with us tonight, and you said the stats are really interesting. We're putting the video on Facebook Live when the program is complete each week, and then of course it's on the YouTube channel as well. And we're getting now literally hundreds of folks who are checking it out each and every week.
It usually on demand because we only have like us watching and maybe 2 or 3 other people.
And we knew going in especially summertime,
Wednesday night,
it's a weeknight, 7 o'clock. Who's going to sit on a computer and watch a show like this? Unless one of us gets naked, and hopefully it'll be you.
It's really weird. As I said, when we leave, we've got like 15 views. When I check and I go to bed, we've got like 75 views. By the next day, we've got 300 views. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, and we'll have to do some research somewhere along the way. Maybe we'll have some folks that we can talk to and see what they're listening for. Are they listening for content, what they like, what they dislike, or is it just basically hoping that I'll shut the fuck up about Donald and they want to see how long I can go on with that crap?
Or are they waiting for me to come across the table at you?
But that's not going to happen, and that's part of the charm of what we do, because no matter how wrong you are, I always treat you with graciousness and courtesy, and I always will. Because you're entitled to your opinion no matter how asinine or moronic it may be.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
This is America, and I'm here for you, buddy.
Okay. You're a mess.
As a rule, speaking of law-breaking slime balls, let's just do this. The secret to Ethel's musicology is there. I don't make any suggestions to her whatsoever. I just tell her, hey, Ethel, we're going to be talking about, I give her a couple of words. She goes off.
Hey,
she gets her little Etch-a-Sketch out. And
Ethel is amazing. Thank you, Ethel.
Thank you. And not only that, you get the big applause there, Ethel. Not only that, but because we're using her MIDI machine back there and she's playing it, it just snorks the shit out of YouTube censorship issues because there's no copyright.
Well, I got tired of YouTube cutting up our podcast. That was terrible.
All right. Speaking of cutting things up, oh, what a segue.
Wow.
O.J. Simpson has been out of prison now for a little while.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Oh, this is gold.
He's joining Twitter. He's discovered the 19th century, and he's going to join Twitter. And this past week, he released a little teaser video of what's going on. And yes, thanks to the technology available here and now, I'm going to just simply offer this up for you. This is, and we'll talk a little bit about O.J. This is what O.J. had to say when he, and this isn't a tweet. This is a little. You'll see.
Look out!
It's a warning, is what it is. Check this out.
Hey, Twitter world, this is yours truly. Now, coming soon to Twitter, you'll get to read all my thoughts and opinions on just about everything.
Oh, boy.
Now, there's a lot of fake OJ accounts out there, so this one, at the real OJ32, is the only official one. So this should be a lot of fun. I got a little getting even to do. So God bless. Take care.
God bless, and I got a little getting even to do.
I thought he already did the getting even.
Yeah.
In the front yard.
I don't,
But I got to be honest with you. I'm going to tune in. I'm going to watch.
OJ is a pioneer of sorts. I'm going to give him that much. He's a pioneer of sorts. When we talk a lot, and we do lately, and we will continue to because it exists this way, this sociopathic, narcissistic, I, me, mine, what's in it for me, enough about me, what do you think about me, culture that we live in.
Mm-hmm.
He's been doing that shit all along, but he started it in a big, big way in the few years before the murders, and that was in 1993. This is over 20 years ago, almost 25 years ago. But he's sort of like the Rosa Parks of sociopathic narcissists.
Well, here's the problem. I don't think we knew he was like that because he was the lovable guy on the Naked Gun series.
The Hearst commercial.
The Hearst commercial. Yeah, I mean, you didn't know that he had that in him, and then you started to hear things.
We didn't know.
Well, we didn't know.
And he doesn't think of himself that
and
way.
You started to hear the things, and then, the Goldman, Nicole Brown Simpson killings went down, and
you mean when he didn't murder them while he was murdering them?
He didn't murder them, but this is how I would have done it had I did it. Yeah. You remember that interview? That was
well. The other
crazy.
part of the big news this week was that he's finally addressed the rumors. It turns out he says there's no way that he is Chloe's father.
Oh, I saw that.
Now, if you don't know who Chloe is, thank your lucky stars that you're not involved in all that shit. And we're not going to bother telling you. But so there's that, and this falls into the category of who cares. And then now he's announced that he's going to be on Twitter. And I can't, with the possible exception of the things that I say, I can't imagine why anybody would give two rats' asses about anything O.J. Simpson has to say about anything.
I do. I'm going to be monitoring that like a mental patient.
People like you are the problem with this. You see, if you would stop paying attention to these clowns.
I love crazy people. Crazy people tickle me.
Okay. Well,
and I know if we stopped watching them, they would go away.
I'm not a hypocrite. I found this and I threw it up on the show. I said, hey, watch what he has to say. I'm doing that for the newsworthiness. Now, from this point forward, and I do love the little Freudian in between the lines things. I mean, I got a little getting even to do. What does that mean? I don't think he's smart enough, intellectually smart enough, to have put that in as a, hey, if I say this, they'll think I'm going to go out and gut somebody. I think he just said it because he's just
well,
pissed,
I think he's pissed
off
at the Goldman family.
Well, everybody.
Yeah.
How dare you confront me with the fact that I murdered your daughter and her friend? What's the matter with you?
Well, their son.
I'm the juice. But he's this business of the very beginning, and I don't want to replay it, but the very beginning where he said, I'm coming on Twitter. And
hello, Twitter world.
Hello, Twitter world. It's yours truly.
Hello there. It's yours truly.
The one thing I will give him is at least he didn't say you guys. We had that conversation earlier tonight. The new nobody says ladies and gentlemen anymore. Nobody has any fucking respect. They don't say, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's, hey, you guys. How you guys doing? It's very informal, and it's very presumptuous. I don't like people to be familiar with me.
Well,
I want them to be
who invented that
me.
statement?
You guys? The Kardashians.
No. The electric company.
You guys.
Hey, you guys.
Okay.
That was the intro. That was the intro. Remember the electric company?
Yeah, but I think, okay. But in terms of real popularity, the Kardashians started, because Kris Jenner, thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. Thank you, guys, for watching the show. We love you guys.
But Morgan Freeman and the electric company.
Okay. Well, that's way before my time. So anyway, OJ, Twitter, watch for him because, I can't imagine.
Because you can't look away. It's like a car accident.
And meantime, the search for the real killers goes on.
Well, he's going to find him. He's got time now. He's out.
Actually, I think he's going to be busy because I think Donald is going to put him to work curing cancer and AIDS because he made that promise. And we'll talk a little bit more about that shortly. Stick around. We'll be back. A little drunk sometimes.
Did the show just skip?
She's having a stroke. Hush. We don't make fun of Ethel's playing. Because, you get back there on that machine and see if you can whip that shit out without making a mistake.
I'm not touching her machine.
All right. Well, it's that time of the week when we pick our stick of the week, which is, of course, the euphemism for the Darwin Award, the moron, the jackass, call it whatever you want. And this, I started to single out a single person. Then I thought better of it because it was my turn to do it this way.
Yes.
So let's just do the stick thing here, and then I'll explain what I'm doing, Lucy.
Okay.
Ethel's playing that just for you.
I tell you what,
she heard you were making.
She's hip.
You were making fun of her, and she heard you do that. All right, the stick of the week, and you saw the little graphic there with the head up the butt and the microphone. There is a particular on-air talk radio broadcast personality in this area who chapped my cheeks this past week, and I thought I'm just going to go after.
Wait a minute, your cheeks got chapped?
My cheeks got chapped.
I'm
not going to go after this individual per se, and I'm not going to mention any names, and here's the reason why.
You're safe, Ricky.
Yeah, because the indictment is this. The indictment from me as far as stick of the week is basically not every, because that would be wrong, but most and too many talk radio hosts, quote unquote, and especially local talk radio hosts who are really into the political stuff, and they're doing that. And my problem with them, this guy in particular, and I'll show you the example. I showed you this. We talked about this. Mm-hmm. Is that, and I guess I'm just a dreamer. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one.
Okay, Mr. Lennon.
My take on it is, when I was doing talk radio on a semi-regular basis, I offered my opinions, and I was as blunt about my opinions there as I was here, with the exception of not saying fuck on the air there, because I couldn't do that.
Right.
But the attitude was still the same.
We say fuck here a lot.
But fucking A. But my thing was, and listeners would testify to that, I was always willing to say, okay, well, what do you got? And if I didn't agree with it, I came right back at him, and I tried to do that. And it wasn't necessarily always, I want to be a hypocrite about this. But there are still lines, there are parameters, there are places you don't. And it's not just about, and the point that I'm going to make quickly here now, thank God, is so many of these guys, this guy in particular, they just turn me off, and I wish they would turn most people off, because all they're doing is stirring the shit pot and playing to their crowd.
Right.
It's Trumpism again. It's that, I don't believe in this, but I know it's going to give you a Woody, so I'm going to say it. Okay, it's lynch mob shit, and it makes me crazy. And it's not about off-color humor or et cetera, et cetera. Here's the case in point. This particular broadcast personality in this area posted on his Facebook page. Didn't do this on the air. I don't listen to him. He may be talking this kind of crap on the air. He posted this meme on his Facebook page, which has a significant number of people following and people who listen to the radio
due to his
that he does.
Local celebrity.
And this is what he posted. Now, you and I were talking earlier about Seth MacFarlane and edgy, raw humor, the TNA stuff, the fart jokes, the vomit, projectile vomiting, all the rest of that.
All the stuff I love.
There you go.
Yeah.
And I'm not that guy that has the stick of the week up his butt. All right. I can laugh at, and I've written my share of off-color stuff, and I'm not that prude guy, but there are, just like rule of law, There's lines. There's either lines or not. Now, the graphic is up. Rodney Dangerfield never said that because he's been long dead, but this is the point. Nancy Pelosi is so ugly that her proctologist accidentally stuck his finger in her mouth. That's okay. You're a 5-year-old in disguise.
Well, I told you that.
I understand that, but from a political point of view, and especially somebody who's a radio host who's supposed to be at least bouncing the ball around, and let's have some give and take, and let's do the thing. That's just 5-year-old infantile, childish bullshit. Okay, and he should be ashamed of himself and embarrassed. And if I invite me on sometime, and I'll sit down with you, and I'll go, what the fuck? Is that all you got?
Right.
Give me cogent arguments. Give me specific facts and figures, and even get passionate about it, and I'll go one-on-one with you all damn day long. But to pull that kind of crap, get that graphic off of there. I just that's it. So he representing those who do that.
Those who do that, yes.
They are the stick of the week, and that's, as Forrest would say, that's all I got to say about that.
I kind of want to dance, Scott.
Andale. Ethel's giving you that look. Don't talk while she's playing. It's like Billy Mooney in the Twilight Zone. There's no talking while playing. I'm going to try to get Bill Mooney. He's a Facebook friend.
Yeah, get Bill on.
I've never met him personally, but we've exchanged comments a time or two.
Pleasantries?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Bill Mooney, if you don't know, is the actor who played Will Robinson in Lost in Space, and tons of television back in the back in the day. All right, so what are we going to do here? Oh, I know. All right, totally non-political, I guess, because it's one of those. Let's do a little. I'm thinking travelogue. Let's try that and see what happens. She's good, man.
I tell you.
You know what that is?
Yes, Traveling Man.
There
right?
you go.
Old Ricky
Freeberry. Yeah. Ricky Nelson. For God's sake. I think you are having a stroke today.
I am. Good Lord.
It's the sinus.
He was traveling a lot until he burned up on the runway.
Well, yeah, okay.
Unfortunately.
Where did Rick Nelson go on tour? All over the Midwest. All right. We need to boo. So
have you noticed that if you leave this country for vacation, you generally die now? That's
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you go to the Dominican Republic, I'm dying to go to the Dominican Republic.
With the possible exception of being Donald Trump's press secretary, I can't imagine a job that's more challenging and difficult than to be the head of the Chamber of Commerce or Tourist Bureau for the Dominican Republic.
Well,
come on down now and die plentifully.
A ninth person died in the Dominican Republic under suspicious circumstances. Now, I was reading something today, and I didn't really do any research, but I read something that they're thinking it's connected to the minibar. Did you see that?
I had not seen that. No.
Yeah, I don't know, but they're dying with like excessive fluid in their lungs, and it's obviously something they're taking into their body.
Is this what is? I haven't read enough about this to know, and I'm sure you've done all your research. What are the threads? What are the commonalities? If this was CSI, we would be going, well, what do they all have in common?
Well, they seem to be all found in their rooms, dead in their bed.
But it's different hotels.
Different hotels. The Hard Rock,
That's okay. We don't need to.
Yeah, the Excellence Resort, the Dreams Resort, and there's like La Tica La Toca or something like that. It's
yeah. I was trying to head him off from naming the hotels because now I can picture a lot of people taking their fucking tickets and going, "Great, we're not going."
But yeah, the apparently excessive fluid in their lungs. It's some kind of biological thing that's going on. I don't know if it's in the water or if it's in a parasite in the food or something, but
maybe it's a biological junta.
But nine
people
have died. Now, my question is, why in the fuck would you leave the U.S.? If you want warm weather, go to Florida.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Why would you leave
for vacation? You know what I mean? Why would you travel abroad?
Well,
the cartels. If you don't go to Mexico, you'll get murdered by cartels. If you go off the resort, if you stay on the resort, you die from the minibar.
It's a tough, yeah.
I mean, what the fuck? I'm not leaving the U.S.
Hi, I'm Scott. You may know me from my podcast, The Blab. But right now, I'd like to speak to you about a scourge that's affecting millions of people. Death by minibar.
But, I mean, it's why would you travel abroad
well,
under these circumstances?
There are some lovely places, you know, and I will say this.
Mass stabbings in London, mass stabbings in Japan.
Well,
Death by Minibar. I'm going to just keep bringing that up. Death by Minibar.
Wasn't that Agatha Christie's third novel?
Yes, yes.
Hercule Poirot, Death by Minibar. You wanted more humor. We got more humor. I was going to answer your question. There are some beautiful. Let me tell you something. And I always get in trouble when I do this because I answer these kinds of instead of just going, that's interesting, let's move on. I answer the question. And, and the way I do it always gets me in trouble because I tell the truth, or I at least tell what's perceptive. In comparison to some of the beaches and some of the oceans available in various places like Mexico and the Dominican Republic and Belize and places like that, America's got shit for beaches and ocean. I mean, some of this beautiful, tropical, amazing,
I don't like
stunning,
a beautiful beach so much that I want to wake up dead in my bed in my hotel room.
Well, everything's a trade-off. I mean, come on. You know,
I should be the head of
tourism. I feel like if the tourist thing or the online side, if Trivago levels with me, if they say, look, you're going to get the room for $75 a night and you're going to get free Wi-Fi. Now, there's a 7 in 10 chance you're going to die in the bed as long as they're up front with me. You see?
Oh, you heard about the Trivago guy, the gray-haired dude?
The DUI guy.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Well, everybody's got to have a hobby. Come on.
You know. But, no, if I was the head of tourism for the U.S., my slogan would be, come here, you don't die.
Well, yeah, the big signs are going up. Welcome to America. At least we're not the Dominican Republic. You know what I think? I think it's going to end up being something like Legionnaire's disease or something fungal or bacterial.
Well, that's what I think. Somebody wrote on here a common alcohol supplier, which very well could be the case. They supply, something in the water or in the alcohol or
institutional brands very often get floated, no pun intended, to all different kinds of hotels in different areas. That's why I asked my original question was, what's the commonality?
Right.
Does each room, they're different hotels, but does each room, for example, pack its minibar with Shmonoko vodka from the Shmonoko company, and they're going to find out that somebody.
That's not a bad vodka. Have you ever had the Shmonoko?
Shmonoko vodka? No, I said. And I slipped that in. Shmonoko is actually a Himalayan word that means.
Oh, okay, okay. I like that.
Now, you know what's really funny about America these days? The folks that are watching and people who will see this on the rebroadcast, the instant I did that, you know what they're doing? They're Googling Shmonoko to see if they can figure out what I was talking about.
Well, anyway, I am all for vacationing within the boundaries of the U.S.
Oh, that's such rank nationalism.
Do not go abroad. You will die.
No, you can't. Don't get me started. There's so many. The beaches and the ocean. It's beautiful. That's why. Plus, there's other historic things to see.
The ocean is just as wet.
How can you get away? Florida? How can you get away from it all if you don't get away?
You can get away to Florida.
Oh yeah, Florida doesn't have any kind of crime.
I love Miami.
Or alligators that come out of the golf course.
The Cuban people are so friendly. They roll cigars in shop windows.
Not for long. Not for long. Because Donald is getting ready to box them all back up and ship them back to where they came from in the quest to pretend that he's keeping his campaign promises now that he's up for the gig again.
Now they just released a statement that said his sending millions back is not feasible. That came out today.
You're going to have to give me a second. I'm shocked. I can't. Wow. You mean he's making shit up?
But something needs to be done. I think they said there's only like 42,000 beds at the detention facilities, and we have like currently 54,000 people.
This is interesting, and I know you didn't know what was coming here.
Oh, okay.
And
I never know what's coming.
I'm segueing now into the next bit because what you just said is a perfect segue to talk about this. And I've been pretty good. We're like 22 minutes away from being done for the evening, and we've kind of minimized the Donald stuff in general, at least my usual.
It's always you,
yeah.
Yeah. I don't bring him up.
Everybody's got a hobby.
We talked about mine last week.
I said what I was going to do was each week, though, because I'm not kind of honing it into a thing that doesn't turn into it's an hour of Scott Trash and Donald. So I said, all right, I'm going to homogenize it down into a little bit of a thing, and each week I'll pick like a thing or maybe a couple of things. And I thought, well, let's be fun and have clever with it. So what's the dumbest, stupidest thing he said or did in the week, and I'll have a little fun with
Sure.
that. And I gave it a little thing, and I call it this week's the tippy top of what Donald said or did that made me cringe the most and the worst, and we call it this week's tippy top Trump.
Tip top.
We have very stupid people in our country.
I will build a great, great wall. Ridiculous bullshit. Bing, bing, bong, bong, bing, bing, bing. Tippy top.
You know,
I don't.
here was the challenge right off the bat. I sat down diligently and just like yesterday, because the whole week had gone by and we're going to do the thing tonight. And I said, let me pick the one thing. And I said, there's no way I'm going to get away with only one thing. I can't do it. It's like trying to just pick one candy out of the big Whitman sampler. No, I don't have to eat the whole box, but I got to have at least 4 or 5 pieces. So let me just do the fast little bullet points for you.
Okay.
He launched his 2020 campaign in Orlando last night. He spent up to 10 minutes of how long he yammered on talking about Hillary's fucking emails.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He's been joking off and on in print and in media for the last week or so, and I don't have the exact quote, that his supporters strongly want him to be president for more than 2 terms.
I saw that.
Now that I think he's doing he's the guy that farts in the room and lights it to watch it burn and see the look on people's faces. He's jerking people around when he does that. But had he said that in public in a way that, in a medium or like in a debate or something, my comment back would be, you know what? Do you not get, and I think you do and don't care, do you not care that these things really reflect badly on you as a person? But more than that, you're the president of the United States. You should be the first person to be honoring the laws and traditions and foundational stuff, and we talk about this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In his little spiel, he said, and I'm quoting, Democrats want to destroy our country, unquote. A, bullshit. Okay. B, our country. Once again, addressing the cult, the group at the rally. It's us. It's us against them. It's pandering, and here we go again. And here it comes around to this for me, for this little segment. And not to wander off for 20 minutes, because I said we weren't going to do that. And I'll hold
Don't wander, Scott. Don't wander.
No, and I'm not going to get, but this is, I was thinking about this in a context, trying to come out of the context of just bashing on what a moron this guy is. And what's really unfortunate is what's the amazing opportunity that this country's about to lose, or basically, or worse than that, squander. This election is going to be essentially a shit pile, okay? He's not interested in anything except the gratification that comes with being loved, adored, and praised, and now proving that he's loved, adored, and praised by getting reelected. It's not me accusing him unfairly or unduly, because everybody's seen it for the last 3 years, and for the number of years before that they paid any attention to him. He will say anything, he will do anything, he will try anything that he thinks will enamor him as far as that kind of stuff goes on.
Endear him to his followers.
There's going to be no healthy exchange of ideas during this campaign. There may be the expression of some ideas by people like Pete Buttigieg or Joe Biden or whatever the case may be, or any Republican who comes back along. But from Donald Trump, there's going to be no exchange of ideas. There's going to be no, even if it's hard-hitting and even a little unfair or below-the-belt kind of rock'em sock'em robots, which is what good political campaigns are all about, none of that's going to occur. This may be historically the one, at least in my awareness of, and certainly in my own lifetime, but perhaps in American history, this may be the first presidential election where the prevailing attitude is, let's just get this fucking thing over with, okay? And let's just find out if we're finally going to get rid of this clown or whether we're going to have to deal with four more years of this crap. But you know what? Fuck it. Let's do it tomorrow. Because there's nothing to be gained. Nothing. To me, that's a horrific wasted opportunity, a horrific waste of time and resources and money. They're going to spend upwards of $300 or $400 million between the two parties
easily
doing all this kind of stuff.
Easily.
How many homeless shelters and how many in yada yada. So
no, I get it.
All right, and here's my little last shot, and then I'm done with Donald in so many ways. I posted this morning because I saw this in one of the little timeline things. On this date, this exact date in 1953, Julius and Ethel Rosenberg were executed by electric chair. Check out your History Channel. at Ossining Prison in New York. They were convicted of spying for the Soviet Union. He was 36 and she was 37. Okay. And it occurred to me, this is how times change, and they don't, and they do. Working with Russia or about Russia or collaborating with and or spying for in any of those companies in 1953, it got you executed. In 2019, it gets you a crowded hall full of glassy-eyed people wetting themselves over your presumptive reelection as President of the United States. So I just wanted to say, Julius and Ethel, wherever you may be, come home.
Ethel's in the corner.
All is forgiven. Not that Ethel.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
I get it to a certain extent. The I to this day, I don't think there was Russian meddling. I don't think he colluded with Russia.
It doesn't matter if he colluded or not. That has been the distraction since for too long.
Right, for 3 years.
The fact is that once again, okay, and this is where the discussion gets bogged, because people go, there wasn't a collusion, no collusion. Fuck the collusion. So there was no collusion. What is collusion? Well, what is that? Well, I didn't rape her. I just kind of stuck my finger in a little bit. It's a matter of degrees.
Who told you about that? No.
It's a matter of degrees.
Right.
And here's my issue with that issue. Okay, it's not about that. It's about that it's been practically admitted by those in a position to know from Russia, and almost every single, again, foundational agency, intelligence operator in this country saying the Russians have been screwing around with us. They did it last time. They're going to do it again. And instead of what any reasonable person has a right to expect, him and his turtle buddy Mitch standing up and saying, this is not acceptable, we're going to put a stop to that shit, they go, it ain't happening. What the fuck? And if it is, doesn't matter, because the fuck the collusion, the meddling got us in last time. It's going to get us in next time.
The meddling was more than Russia. It was China. It was much China. I sent you the link.
You're rationalizing.
No, I'm not rationalizing. I'm just telling you, China is our threat. I don't know why everybody keeps pointing to Russia.
All right, then I'll give you that.
Putin is a thug. That's all he is. He's a thug.
Okay.
China is our main threat.
Okay.
And anybody that doesn't believe that is naive as fuck.
Then I'm going to give you this. I'm going to accept your premise. I'm not disagreeing with you at all. My original assertion stands. Those in a position of power who should, by oath, let alone by moral obligation, should be standing up and saying, we're putting a stop to it. I don't give a shit whether it's Russia, China, or your sister Ted.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And they're not.
Somebody needs to. I mean, they've issued sanctions against Russia, and there's problems with China, but I don't know what you can do technologically. Technologically?
For the third time in as many months this past week, McConnell torpedoed another opportunity for a bill that was designed to put funding in the direction of getting this election meddling shut down technologically. He put a stop to it. What other inference can be drawn except there's no good reason to put a stop to it.
There's not a good reason for that.
No matter who's doing it. So there's that. All right, let's fuck it. Let's do rim shots.
Oh, are you frustrated, Scott?
No. Well, I've been frustrated since 2000. Well, I've been frustrated
2016,
since like 1973. But again, and not to get back into it because we're going to do this, but this is what I'm talking about. It's the wrong arguments.
Right.
There's too much distraction purposefully put into the soup here, and the proper discussions are not being had. Okay, it needs to be stopped.
It does. I agree.
When I was a kid, Russia was the enemy. And if we got along with them at all, the détente and all the rest of that kind of stuff, well, that was fine. But what happened was now it's not only not being stopped, it's by implication and implicitness being endorsed.
Right.
I don't care.
Well, we better start worrying about other countries, because I saw a chart that said it was talking about our military. I think we are like the 5th largest military now on the planet, behind India, China. I think Soviet Union's right behind us, but I mean, other countries are advancing. China is a concern. I mean, that's a main concern. I sent you the CIA guy talking about that. It's a major concern. I would be more concerned with China than anybody.
Okay. Whoever it is, and all of them.
Though I like the egg
any
rolls.
of them. Well, the store isn't being minded. The store is being handed away. And the irony is that the people who are championing this guy and his cronies, including Mitch and Lindsay and Cubby and Carrot and John Boy and Jim Bob,
Did you slip that last one in there on purpose?
I did, yeah. Oh, no. He's just a Walton. Will always be a Walton. It's this down the rabbit hole thing that we're all in and have been in for a number of years. It's like the Twilight Zone through the looking glass. It's the opposite of what it should be.
What it should be, yes.
So many people are not only not up in arms about the fact that their elected leaders are sort of just saying, oh, well, yeah, Russia's meddling, but we don't really give a shit because it's serving our purposes. Instead of being up in arms about that, they're cheering it and making it out like it's some kind of fucking badge of honor.
Well, the thing that really bothered me is in that 36-hour interview where they asked Trump if, and you know I lean right. You know that. I make no bones about that. But they asked him if a foreign country had approached him with information, would he use it or would he contact the FBI? And I did not like his answer. I did not like his answer at all.
And yet there he is. And millions of people.
Well, if we'd have put the other party in, they were the ones paying for the dossier. So there, I mean, it's both parties, man.
No, I agree that both parties have, are at fault about a lot of things. I will always reject the premise that anybody at any time comes at me with any time. And it doesn't matter if it's Democrat or Republican. I reject the premise wholeheartedly. When people tell me, well, the other guy would have done this, I go.
No, I'm not saying would have. I'm saying did.
I'm talking about the now.
Okay, but I'm saying.
Well, and again,
it's both sides of the aisle, and that's the problem, Scott. That's the problem.
The current power players
are
starting with the top power player, who is basically saying
for the right.
And we've been through this many times. We're like the divorced couple that keeps arguing over the.
That's what makes it so fun.
Who's gonna get the poodle? Okay. They're taking he and his immediates are taking the exact opposite approach that you just said yourself. Even you, who leans to the right and just rationalizes the fuck out of the things that Donald does.
I'm not rationalizing.
You finally see your meter finally got tweaked when he said, "Well,
my meter's always tweaked."
I know what I mean about this thing that he's doing, where he's saying, we don't do those kinds of things. And here's the next danger. And once again, this is like it sucks the oxygen out of the room because I said let's do 5 minutes and we've done 15 on it. But it's going to get worse.
Oh yeah,
because
without a doubt,
because the sociopathic, narcissistic personality, and you don't have to be a PhD. Any first-year psych student can tell you that personality. Once they feel validated in their behavior, it doesn't make them content to continue on with that behavior. What it does is it makes them continue to go, how much farther can I go the next time? What can I do now?
Well, it's like a child. They're testing the boundaries.
You love me doing that, you're going to love me doing this. And there's a weird kind of thing going on where it may not even be conscious, but Trump in particular, but Mitch to a certain extent and some of the others, but Donald in particular, it's like, well, I got away with that. I can't believe I got away with that. Let me try this, because they're certainly going to smack me down at some point. It's like a drug.
Right.
I'm going to keep going harder. I'm going to keep going farther. Well, where's the line? Where does it get drawn? When is enough legitimately and easily enough? And there's the $64,000 question. And that's why I said, okay, I was exaggerating a little bit when I said have the election tomorrow. Right. Let's have it in, what are we in now? July almost. Let's do it in October. Let's get it done. Fuck all this. Let's go another year and a half, and all this grief and aggravation we're all going to go through, and all this money is going to be wasted. And ultimately, because it's going to come down to, are we going to replace Donald Trump or not? Is America going to replace Donald Trump or not? And at this point, in large measure, to a lot of people, it doesn't really matter who the hell it is. There's nobody on the other side that, to the people he's objectionable to, can possibly be any more objectionable to it. And
there's a couple, but
the danger lies in the fact that re-election will be validation and endorsement of that behavior. Mark my words. This is the part of the disaster movie where I say that, and everybody goes, oh, and I don't know that the sky's going to fall, but it's going to get a lot worse, and there's going to be a lot more damage. And
well,
it shouldn't be that way. They're not. He's not honoring.
Well, historically,
he's not honoring the office.
Well, historically, a president, you really see a president's true colors in their second term because they don't have to worry about reelection.
Well, that may not be true, though, because Donald's not going to proceed the second term as anything other than the one that comes before the third term. Mark my words. In fact, I got that straight from my very good buddy. All right, we put the title card up for Rim Shots 20 minutes ago. Let's do Rim Shots, in which we just make little ha-has to wrap it up with, and then I do a little thing here that's a Rim Shot. And I think only one or two of these have anything to do with Donald or politics. Michael Palin. We were talking about Michael Palin.
I love Michael Palin.
He got knighted.
Yes, I saw that.
Week. He is now Sir Michael Palin. For the ceremony, he where's my thing? Here it is. He wore a cutaway coat. There's pictures of him. He was being knighted by Prince William. He wore the cutaway coat with the tails, and of course,
beautiful plumage.
You know, the Norwegian blue. It's lovely. That's a Python joke. If you don't
lovely
get it.
plumage.
Yeah, beautiful plumage.
It prefers skipping on its back.
Hello, Polly. All right, let's see.
Did you see the giant parrot in the park?
I did.
That was funny.
I forwarded that meme.
That was awesome.
That's why I love England. They got a sense of humor about
They
stuff.
do.
They're as screwed up as the day is long, but they're in that good old-fashioned screwed up in a normal way, the way we used to be.
unless you post something on social media about Prince Harry.
Nice turn into that.
You like that, did you?
Good job. Yeah, and there was that guy who did that.
It said what was the slogan?
Where's the beef?
No, the slogan was hysterical. I was like, oh, Lord. Oh, see you later, race trader. And it had a picture of him with a gun to his head and a blood-splattered wall behind it.
That's delightful.
Well, the guy that posted it got 4 years and 3 months in prison for a post on social media. So hopefully this is going to start to curb some of the internet bullying and the internet bullshit that's going on.
No, not as long as human beings are involved. I don't think so.
But
right.
I'm going to get that T-shirt.
I think you would. All right.
See you later, race trader.
This meme, with the bumper sticker. This, if only they hadn't decided to go with "Keep America Great," they could have gone with.
See you later, race trader. That's
right.
interesting.
Totally non sequitur. This meme floated. I just thought it was funny because I feel this way sometimes. Apparently, the guy was asking, "Am I getting older, or is the supermarket suddenly playing really great music?" I thought, when the music starts to appeal to you. All right. This is just a goofball thing. There's a new slogan for a lot of Americans, and again, I saw this in a cartoon form. It said, "Help, I've fallen, and I can't think of a single fucking reason to get up." I felt that. Now, this is a little inside music thing. You'll get it. Some folk will get it. If you don't get it, don't be offended. We're not. We're an equal opportunity insulter. Shania Twain has announced that she's going back to Vegas. She was occupying a residency, is what they call it. They play there for months and months on end in their own little theater. She's going to.
Who started that?
Oh gosh, Liberace.
That's right. I remember. Yeah.
And as Liberace, one of my favorite Liberace slogans. Remember, too much of a good thing is wonderful. Shania has announced her return to the Vegas residency. It'll start December 6th, and it's called "Let's Go." The Vegas residency. And I said several large tractor trailers have been spotted rolling back into Vegas, reportedly filled with sound equipment, lighting equipment, and several tons of exclamation points.
Yes.
Let's go, girls.
Lord.
And the key phrase there was exclamation points. Go ahead and research Shania, and you'll laugh hysterically at that joke later. Doors guitarist from the Doors, Robbie Krieger, David Crosby, and some of the Little Feat are going to take part in the second annual WeedCon West Expo, which is a conference that promotes education about the medical benefits of cannabis and cannabis products. Now, in a shrewd business move, Frito-Lay has announced that Cool Ranch Doritos for sale at the venue will be temporarily repriced at $100 a bag.
There you go.
That's capitalism,
That
baby.
is capitalism in its purest form.
We talked about O.J. One more shot here. O.J. vehemently denies that he is Chloe's real father. He has not, though, yet ruled her out as the real killer of Nicole and Ron. Thank you. I'll be here all week. And I got to do this one really fast. This is somewhat long. Steven Spielberg is remaking West Side Story, the classic Leonard Bernstein, Stephen Sondheim music.
Stella.
And that's Streetcar Named Desire.
Okay,
nice,
Stella.
Nice word. Yeah, okay, that's still Streetcar Named Desire.
I have a sinus infection.
West Side Story is Maria, not Stella.
Oh, okay.
All right. Rita Moreno, who played in the original.
Yes.
I like to be in America.
She was hot when she was young.
She's playing the female version of the doc that was in the pharmacy in the movie West Side Story. If you're into this, if not, then
she was on Oz too.
Thanks for being with us. Now, reports from the set. This is a long setup to a not very funny thing, but I wrote it myself, and damn it, I want to use it. Reports from the set indicate that Spielberg is going after the young audience with this particular remake of the film, and you kind of got to be into musical theater to get what's going on here. Some revisions to the original score, including the songs "When You're a Rocket Man, You're a Rocket Man All the Way."
Oh.
Gee, Officer Scaramouche, can you do the fandango?
The drummer refused to rim shot you there.
No hurricane funds come from America.
There you go.
Maria, I just met a girl transitioning into a boy named Maria. That's pretty good. I feel pretty and transy. And the anticipated showstopper, there's a place for us far from the shallow now.
Stella.
Sha-la-la-la-la-la-lo.
I'm going with Stella.
And last but certainly not least, from Colbert. Oh, now it works. From Colbert, stop it. There you go. From Colbert.
Blowed up good.
Blowed up real good. From Colbert, one last shot at my buddy Donald. Donald Trump officially, this is from Colbert, I didn't make this one up. Donald Trump kicked off his re-election campaign with a rally in Orlando. Colbert said, well, it makes sense he would do it in the home of Walt Disney. His ideas are goofy. His base is Snow White. And with climate policies, we're all going to end up under the sea.
Stop picking on Donald.
Thank you, Stephen Colbert.
Stop picking on Donald.
Well, I'll tell you what. Next week, I'll bring an extra exclamation point. Let's go, girls. I think that's about all I got.
And boys that want to be girls.
All right. This will be appearing in its entirety on the YouTube channel at some point in the immediate future when I get around to it. Ethel, as always, nice work, kid. Good job.
We'd like to thank all of you, ladies and gentlemen.
You guys have been great.
Who actually watch us on demand. And a quick reminder, next week will be on Tuesday night at 7, because I have a show on Wednesday night.
Yeah, it's the other gig. And I have to go to the show. We'll talk about that next week, actually. Why I'm being dragged off from my, comfortable do-nothing lifestyle.
It's because Mrs. Phelps is insisting. Yeah, life gets easier. Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah. Somebody used to say that to me all the time. Who was that?
Denny Craig.
That's right.
OJ?
All right. Next week, he's got a little getting even to do.
I can't wait. Oh, I am so in love with that.
Ringing. Oh, the Broadway. There you go. He's got a lot of getting even to do.
I can't wait to follow the OJ page.
Well, I can't wait for you to be waiting for it. And that's all the time we have. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Thank you.
You guys. We'll
folks,
see you next time.
See you, folks.
On the Blab.
The Blab.